Because we're talking today about travel. We're talking about bucket list items. What's on your bucket list? Do you have a bucket list? Do you have a list of items, a list of places that you want to go to, things that you want to do? Yellowstone. Me too. Me too. I can drive. As long as you don't judge my driving. Okay. Where else? Where else do you guys want to go? New Orleans. I love it. Where else? Rome. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. The East Coast. I want to do the East Coast. A river thing up the East Coast. That would be amazing. Where else? What? Durango. Where else? I'm not catching it over here. Did somebody say Des Moines? What did you say? The moon? Okay. Good. Are you saving up for it? I think, okay, that's awesome. Hawaii? Awesome. Who wants to go to the North Pole? Look who we have today. Representing the North Pole. You want to know about the North Pole, you have your connection. We spare no effort to bring you the best resources. Right? I mean, who does this? Just Empowered Senior. And we're just a little nonprofit. And this is so much fun. This is year 6 for us. This May, it's our 6th May doing this. And it's been an interesting road, and we have learned so much together. Now, every time somebody's brand new, is this your first time to come? If so, would you raise your hand? Welcome. Welcome. If you've been coming for a long time, could you raise your hand? Very good. Awesome. I've been coming for a long time too. So what I said at the very beginning, 6 years ago, is that my husband and I, Randy Ambrose back there, he's the miracle man behind the scenes. We've been doing real estate basically forever. And what we realized is that our senior clients or their families had more important issues than just selling the house. Okay, we're really good at selling houses. We have a free moving truck. We've done that since 1998. We do all kinds of fancy stuff. But what we realized was that we really didn't know very much about what's involved with being a mature homeowner and maybe selling your last house or moving into something that's small enough that you have to significantly downsize. And we certainly didn't know anything about Medicare, Medicaid, any of this stuff. And I always say it's not like you turn 65 and the Medicare fairy flies overhead and sprinkles fairy dust on you and you know exactly what to do for retirement, right? I know about real estate stuff. Now I kind of know about a few other things, running seminars, doing television, networking. I know a lot of stuff, but I don't know how to give you advice on legal issues. That's why Jason's here serving you coffee today, because he's just a nice guy. I'm telling you, make sure you have an attorney, and preferably one that's younger and healthier than you. You look like a pretty healthy guy. Because it's kind of sad when, you know, your doctor just retires, promises you that he's going to be, and you just find out and that's it. Okay? Or your attorney has Alzheimer's. Okay? But does your attorney specialize in estate planning, elder care? Because this is what we need. We need specialists. And we have people representing senior living, adult day center at the Catholic Diocese. Wonderful professionals that are doing great work in the community, and they are only here because they want to support this education and they want to be a great resource. You know people. When you show up here, you know people and you're connected. And we want you to do business with local people that you know that you can trust, that others trust, that can help you through things. And we've got new partners today. We have our certified aging in place specialist partners with Harmony Home Concepts. And your television program has been taped and coming out soon. What they do is they help you age in place safely where you're at lighting, and take care of things at home so you can be safer. Aging in place starts at what age? What age? What? You gotta be louder. I just don't think I'm hearing as good as I used to. I listened to a lot of rock music in the day. Okay. What does aging in place? What age do we start aging in place? That's a good guess. 50. Give me another guess. Today. Oh, that's a good guess. Can't argue with that one. When do you start? 80. Okay, it's 40. 40 years of age. 40 years of age. So this is research, because our homes were built for the everyday person. They really were built for young people raising families. True or not true? Okay, the American dream, what was it? Like 2 bedrooms, bathroom, a garage, a place to raise your family. Okay, we've expanded on that. That homes were built for healthy, mobile, active people that never age. Homes built for people that never age, that never have a surgery, that never need a walker. Do you know I was in a wheelchair for a while back in 2003? That was sad. That was so sad. My house wasn't built for that. So I had to stay at my mother-in-law's house. It was terrible. But you know what? We became great friends, my mother-in-law and I. She took care of me. My house that Randy and I lived in wasn't built for that. We lived in a 2-story because we were raising young kids. So we thought we were really smart. 4 bedrooms upstairs, so all the mess is up there. The laundry room was up there, so we didn't have to run laundry up and down the stairs. We only had a half bathroom. And if you're in a wheelchair and you can't even get in that bathroom, that doesn't do any good. You can't get to the shower, you can't get to a bed. So I couldn't stay there. Our homes aren't built for that. Most homes, unless you've moved into a patio home, a home that's universally designed, your home isn't built for that, and it takes some change. What are we talking about today? We're talking about travel. I just get off on rates. And so we're talking about travel. So let's talk about travel. I've been talking to a lot of people lately that they're already in a wheelchair and oxygen, and they're thinking about buying an RV again because they used to have a lot of fun driving their RV all over the country, and they're thinking about doing it again. How likely is it, do you think, that they can really do that or sustain it for very long? Okay. So we work with a lot of seniors that are kind of rethinking things and thinking about, the next dream, and they're maybe no longer in the position for that really to become the reality. Can I say something not very nice? It's kind of a fantasy at that point. So we've got to live and do things while we can and do some of the things we said we were going to do. What did you say you were going to do when you retired? Travel. Not work. When I was expecting babies, I thought, I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom, and I'm going to learn to sew, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and Do you think that happened?
No.
No? So we think we're going to do things, and we just don't do it. We've got to take action. So whether it is coming to Botanica, good job. Coming to Botanica and maybe actually going out in the gardens, that's good. Seeing something you haven't seen here, doing a day trip, a weekender trip, or going to Rome or Hawaii. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I'm an America's Senior Home Coach, 2 television shows empowering seniors, and Ageless Enthusiasm, hosted by Mindy East. It's on a week from tonight, okay. So Pairing Seniors is on every Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, and Ageless Enthusiasm is, which Thursday is it? The third Thursday of the month, and she covers some really great topics. So Pairing Seniors is an offshoot of what we do here. Do you know that the TV show followed the seminar? The TV show exists because of the seminar. And then it did so well for PBS that they wanted to do another show. And I said, well, we'll do one for the go-to kids. Do one for the allies that are helping seniors and that are also struggling with their own lives and figuring out how to juggle everything in their lives. And so that's what Ageless Enthusiasm is about. And then Michelle Lloyd, come on up if she can. She might be busy. We have a lot going on.
Go ahead and start without me.
Okay, she'll come up later. So there's the gerontologist on our team. And if you can, silence your phones. And let's appreciate the veterans in the room. The veterans, if you'd like to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, we'd like to honor you and honor our country because we know we won the lottery being born in this country or coming to this country. No matter what is going on in politics, we still are very proud of our country and proud of your service and thankful for our freedom. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so what we have in mind for today, we're going to talk about health benefits of travel, visit with our friends and education partners and see a retro-style brand new camper and have fun, and I hope you'll go out to the garden. All right, can you see that? Why you shouldn't wait until retirement to start traveling. Now, actually, we're going to talk a lot about the benefit of sleep. Sleep is essential, and if you wear yourself out to where you're falling asleep or you sleep really good, that's actually a good thing. But that's just kind of funny. You know, get out there and have a good time. Wear yourself out. Wear yourself out. All right. How many miles of roads does the U.S. have? Anybody know? 800,000. Well, let's see. 253 million miles. Wow. Has anybody been on every road? Okay. So there's many health benefits of travel. Men who take vacations are 32% less likely to die from heart disease.
Really?
Yeah. So guess what Randy and I are going to do? We're going to do some traveling. We're going to fit that in. We're going to work on the road. So we bought a Class A motorhome from a lady whose husband passed away, and she didn't want it, and she loves Randy Ambrose. She wanted Randy Ambrose to have it. And so we bought that, and they named it Mona. Mona. I just don't know if I could do that, but you're not supposed to rename a boat, so I thought you can't rename a camper. So we gave her a middle name. What do you think her middle name is? Lisa. And she's a work of art. And so we're going to do a little traveling in Mona Lisa. Women who take vacations at least twice a year are less stressed and less likely to experience stress. Okay? Vacations can be stressful. It's a good stress. Good stress is good for your brain. Did you know that? Did you have any stress coming here today? Figuring out when to get up, whether it was worth it, making your breakfast. Maybe you had a flat tire. Somebody showed up at something we did yesterday and she had a flat tire. She still made it. Traffic. It's like endless construction around Botanica. I just think it's amazing you found yourself here. Every time you're here, I don't know how you find it. It's not easy. I do not like when somebody asks me how to get Botanica. to Wichita, I tell them, ask somebody else. I can get there, but it's luck. 3 days of vacation can drastically lower stress levels even after the vacation ends. We talk a lot about sometimes just walking out of your house. Sometimes if you're stressed out, you're in a bad mood. If you just go outside and take a walk, or you go to the gym, or you go anywhere, like do anything, it changes things. It changes your energy and how you feel. Do you have to travel far to get the health benefits? No. Long trips, day trips, and staycations are beneficial. And we're getting ready to do a staycation ourselves. Our kids are coming to visit us, and we're going to do a staycation because guess what we're doing? We are cleaning up the garage. We're going to declutter. We're fixing to downsize ourselves. Which is the longest interstate highway within the U.S.?
Route 66.
All right, I'm going to see who's right because I have no idea. Oh, Route 90. Okay. That's the north one, she says. Okay. What other benefits can I expect from travel? Memories. I think that is one of the best. You won't have as many headaches, okay? Get rid of some excess money. Get rid of some excess money. That's good. What? You can see friends and family I haven't seen in a long time. Mom and I went and visited friends that she knew from Chicago that now live in Reno. We had a great time. And when you travel, you get to just see things you've never seen. We saw wild Mustangs all over the place, and it was amazing. You know, going somewhere where you've never been is amazing. Who? Where? Oh, I'm coming.
I think that it makes for wonderful conversations when you've been married a long, long time and you talk about the kids and the kids and the kids. And it just, it feeds for new conversations and yeah, it gives you, yeah, and meeting new people, it's wonderful for that.
So you won't be boring. You'll have something interesting to talk about. But you guys are practically newlyweds.
We are.
Yeah, okay, so she wasn't talking about your marriage. All right, who else? What are some benefits of travel? Raise your hand so I can see you. Okay, I'm coming over there. I have my Apple Watch on, so I'm getting my steps counted.
One is to rekindle relationships.
Beautiful. Rekindle relationships.
Disasters are the best.
And the disasters are the best. Don't those turn out to be the funniest stories? They do. All right, where are some of the best places you've traveled? Raise your hand.
Colonial Williamsburg.
Oh.
Colonial Williamsburg.
Turkey, Greece, Peru. God, I love it. Food, music, culture, education, diversity.
That's awesome.
Route 66, I see this display over here, and I'm gonna finish Route 66 in a couple weeks, Santa Fe to Santa Monica, and I will have done the whole thing.
That's awesome. I'd love to go to Santa Fe someday. I've been to Santa Monica. That's nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. How about you?
Well, I've been not a lot of places glamping, but I do love France and Europe.
Okay, very good. You're going to talk to us about camping here in a second. Up here, we have a whole table of Oklahoma stuff. Thank you, Jillian.
Got another.
I think one of the most exciting trips I had was going to the British Virgin Islands during the winter time. It was never less than 80 degrees and I came back to 19 with wind chill and snow.
Those are the ones you kind of want to stay there for.
I remember one day we were on a cruise ship coming back to Galveston. It was so depressing because it was getting grayer and colder as we got. And I so wish the ship could have just turned around and take us back.
Yeah.
Now, I traveled a lot all my life, but I gotta tell you, I've had so much fun exploring Kansas. One of my favorite places to go was Marysville, Kansas. If you have not been to Marysville, they have these giant squirrels that are so cute. And you can get a map and you can go on a scavenger hunt and you can find all of them. You can get your steps in, then Catherine, I sure did.
And there's squirrels.
Yeah, they're about this tall and they're painted and they're decorated and they're in front of different businesses.
Oh, that's very cool. Awesome. Okay.
How about you? Your hand was up.
The Wisconsin Dells.
Oh, Wisconsin Dells.
Never been. Want to go?
We love Boston.
I think Boston sounds super cool. I haven't been there. Did you have lobster?
Of course.
Of course, he had it like 4 days, the week we were there one time, so he loves it.
Cool. All right. Where else? You travel all the time. Go ahead.
Hawaii. Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
And a benefit is exercise, a lot of exercise.
And you're just go, 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 go.
Venice and London liked a lot, and Cabo San Lucas is wonderful.
Yeah. And you go to Vegas quite a bit. What do you like about Vegas?
The people watching is, that's why I go. Yeah, it's great, and the food's good too.
People watching and food in Vegas. Okay. Hey, Aunt Carolyn, Uncle Gran, how are you? What's the best trip you've ever been on? What?
Yeah, we went to Yellowstone recently. So, spent a couple weeks there, just hiked everywhere and just saw beautiful sights.
Anywhere else?
I've been to Hawaii, but she hasn't yet.
You have, okay, so you've been to Hawaii, but your bride has not.
He said
Huh.
yet. He said
Yes.
yet.
Okay, good. All right, all right. So physical, traveling and vacations promote increased physical activity and movement. Immune, when you're exposing yourself to a range of different ecosystems, your body can get adapted to different types of bacteria and create stronger antibodies that keep you healthy. Guess who put this together? The gerontologist. Is she in here or we're running another meeting in another room. So she's juggling things. All right, good stuff. Cognitive. Disrupts your routine and introduces novelty to your brain. I love that. Which improves cognition and helps reactivate reward circuits. I think planning the trip really is almost as fun as the trip itself. Because it's the planning. Sometimes it's more fun. Looking forward to something in the future helps keep you young cognitively. Challenges your brain to plan, learn new routes, new customs, and try new foods.
We have a real travel bug right here. We just met yesterday. Would you like to share a little bit of your travel?
And go ahead and stand up too if you want to so we can see your shirt. Oh, you can do that later, okay.
I'd rather not. Hi, thank you. I'm Bernstein, and I am currently changing careers at age 78. And the career that I found is travel. And my most fun trip has been Cozumel, but Monday I won a trip to Hawaii, all inclusive for 2 people.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much for coming today. I'm so excited you're here.
And she was telling us at Senior Expo about traveling at wholesale prices. So very interesting. And how about that, starting a new career at 78? Very cool. What if I'm apprehensive about traveling on my own? Falls, injuries, illness, safety. All right, so planning ahead for some of it. I know women that they drive these big old RVs, they hook up the sewer, the electric, they know how everything works. Some of them run a business virtually on their computer, so they also know how to make sure that they can get all the best internet connections and all that. It's absolutely incredible to me. What city in the United States has the greatest population of 60 plus individuals? This is an easy one.
Miami.
Could be Scottsdale, Miami, Wichita. The villages in Florida, with a 65.9% of the population in the villages, Florida is at least 60 years old. Do you remember when the villages had the non-stop jingles, commercials on TV? Some of us could probably still sing the jingle. And so those ads really worked because that city is 65.9% of the residents being 60 years old. It's not too far from Tampa. Okay, so that's really interesting. So there's a tipping point in the aging population when 20% of the population is 65 years of age or older, according to the United Nations definition. It's a super-aged society, super-aged population. Guess what? We're all fixing to be Florida. Okay, because we got the boomers, the youngest boomer is going to turn 65 in the year 2030. So if you're having trouble selling your china or any of your stuff, it's because you're competing with all these other people that sold their china first. Okay, you're competing with them for the best rooms, the best apartments, the best patio homes. There's a lot of competition. And so planning ahead is really wise because in 2030, our whole entire country is going to be a super aged society. This is happening all over the world, but it's our turn in the United States. So it's called the silver tsunami. Have you heard of that term? And then some people say this, they say, what does the tsunami do? It wipes out everything in its path. So, yeah, but I think it's a nice wake-up call for people to realize that might not be like politically correct. Should we all be politically correct in here, or should we just be free?
Free.
Okay, so it might not be politically correct to say silver tsunami, but that's what we're being swept up in, guys. And that's why the seminars and the TV shows and all the other things that we're doing are so important. And you being learning-based planners makes such a big difference because we're going to be a super aged society. So, and what a great intro for the gerontologists in the room. Michelle Lloyd, come on up.
You know, if you think about the word tsunami though, think about the power behind that natural phenomenon. And so you guys are gonna have all the buying power, the purchasing power, the consumer power, the voice. So yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say that in this world today, God has a sense of humor because we're coming back.
Yeah. We're coming back. Get ready, stay ready. So, and I also wanted to point out, I know one of the slides talked about how traveling can change the antibodies, your immune system, things you're exposed to. And I meant to say there's good and bad with that, because sometimes when you travel and you try the local fare or the local water, you might end up spending half of that vacation in your bathroom. So I meant to put an asterisk on that saying, proceed with caution. Or if you're like my 14-year-old and all he eats at home is macaroni and cheese, and then when you take him on the road, sometimes that can go south too. So, we talked a little bit about some of the fears associated with travel. She gave the example of the camper. We have a fifth wheel. It's huge. It's about 40 feet long. And I tell my husband, if you're not here, guess what's going to have the for sale sign on it first? Because I'm sure I'll back that thing right through a house. So, right through. I don't even know what those mirrors on the side of the truck are for. If it doesn't have a backup camera, I can't drive it. But, when we talk about travel, whether it be a day trip, a big trip, a cross-country trip, or out of the country, what are some apprehensions that come to mind for you guys? Safety, yeah. Sorry? Customs and immigration, you might go, remember when the pandemic first hit and so many people that were out of the country traveling couldn't get back in, Remember the videos of people on cruise ships? You know, Customs was kind of like, you made your choice, live out there, come back in 3 years. You know, or even traveling from state to state was an issue. I had staff at that time that were out of state and they had to quarantine at home for 14 days before they could come back in the first year of the pandemic. So when you say safety, what does that mean? What comes to mind with safety? Being prepared? Sorry? Plan ahead. Yeah. What are some of the things you're worried might happen? Confrontation with strangers. Yeah.
Injury.
Injury. Yeah.
Get lost.
Get lost.
Get lost.
Yeah.
Well, that's just normal, right? You just kind of get lost.
It's part of the journey.
The whole way.
Raise your hand if you've ever had a disagreement with a GPS. Right? You're telling me to go straight, and there's a lake in front of me, and I'm not going to go straight.
A few years ago, we were on Highway 10. We were supposed to be on Interstate 10. Apparently, there's a big difference. It just kept getting darker and quieter. You know, we could like hear the violins or something. And we got to a dead end. And what was it?
It was a ferry.
A ferry. In the dark, a ferry parked there to drive onto. This can't be right. I know it's Louisiana, but this can't be right. So we drove through this quiet, sleepy town, a little creeped out, and we ended up at the exact same place, like 3 times. We're slow learners at 3 a.m. Do we wait for the ferry? What do we do here?
I would like to add that there was nobody there working the ferry, so it was like abandoned as well. Super comforting.
Now that sounds like the beginning of a horror movie. A ghost was manning that ferry, Jillian, a ghost.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, sometimes the fastest route there is not the best way.
Oh, sometimes the fastest route's not the best way. Yep.
So raise your hand if in trips before GPS, if you were the navigator for your husband or your dad. My dad's here today. Yeah, the reason that, right? And you ever get yelled at? Yeah. Raise your hand if you left for a trip married, but then came back pert near divorced. Right? Yeah, you have that blow up, then you have that silent treatment period, and then you look at your husband and go, where are we gonna eat? You start the conversation again. So, yeah. So what's great is that we're going to bring up a few ladies to talk about traveling now. And one of them has some really exciting news about how to travel if you have some of those apprehensions. There's a lot of services available to us today to travel if maybe we don't have our usual traveling partner anymore, or maybe you don't want to travel with your designated legally binding traveling partner anymore, and you want new friends. So we're gonna go ahead and have Kinda with Riverwind RV come up, and Deb come up as well.
All right, we have a little comic relief while she makes her way.
Okay.
Yes, I was wondering, does that woman need a +1? I'm in negotiations with my wife. She had me with everything was paid, so.
He's a thinker.
I told you you'd make friends here.
Yeah, we promised you friends. So we did the women's fair. I don't know, our life has been a whirlwind lately. Who was at the women's fair? Okay, that was fun.
Wasn't it a great way to spend that bad weather inside shopping?
It was pretty cool. I might have purchased a few items. And then we did Senior Expo this week. That was incredible. Thank you. It was very well attended. I might have bought a few things.
You're in the booth, where did Katherine go? Come back with bags.
I try to be supportive.
I mean, no, Randy, that wasn't at all.
Oh no, she's kidding.
So we have Deb here with Sisters on the Fly, and then Kinda with Riverwind Casino. Oh, I do that every time. Riverwind RV. Have you guys ever thought about putting a casino in the RV dealership? I bet sales would go up. It does come up. So we're gonna ask them a few questions, and so Deb, why don't you go ahead and tell us a bit about Sisters on the Fly?
Well, I'm delighted to be here. You were talking about empowerment and adventures and concerns about traveling. Well, I'm here to say that as a female, I am 63 years old. I'm retired and my husband is not. I have met a group of women and we go traveling, and part of it is with Sisters on the Fly. And Sisters on the Fly is the largest women's organization in the United States and Canada with a focus on outdoor recreation, and we empower sisters through sisterhood and exceptional outdoor activities. We were started in 1999 by two sisters that were fly fishing, and other people kept coming up to them, especially females, and saying, hey, I want to learn how to fly fish. So it started out fly fishing, and one thing led to another. And now we have all kinds of adventures throughout the country and in Canada. I am the local representative in Kansas. I handle central Kansas and western Kansas. You have to be female, you have to be over 21 years of age, because we do have some hooch around the campfire at times. You don't have to have a camper. I have a camper. In fact, I bought my camper from Kenda 4 years ago, and her name is Miss Frances, a memory of my mother who loved adventures. And I am getting ready to do the last section of Route 66 in a couple weeks, and I will have had her out 43 times in the last 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your camper is named Miss Frances?
My mom's name was Frances, and she loved adventures. So the thing about Sisters on the Fly is that it empowers women. When I started this adventure, I didn't know how to hook up a camper. I knew I wanted to go camping, but through my sisters and the adventures, I now feel comfortable teaching anybody how to back up a camper, how to hitch it up, how to run the systems. I can go camping by myself. When I start out Route 66 in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be going from here down to Santa Fe with my dog, my husband staying at home, and I will be camping by myself. So it really empowers women. And you don't have to have a camper though. There's girls that car camp. There are girls that stay in lodges. There are girls that stay in tents. There are girls that stay with other girls in their camper. The only requirements is that you have to be over 21, like I said, and there is a $70 fee each year, and that gives you access to members directory database, a list of events and activities, instruction videos, blogs, newsletters, etc.
So Deb, I have an idea. So how many men in here want to sign up their wives for lessons? Yeah, I need one hand to go up. I know mine would. This is how you empty a grace. This is how you empty a black case.
And then I'm also going to put in a plug. I am on the board of directors of the American Red Cross serving South Central and Southeast Kansas. Part of being on an adventure is being prepared, and especially the last few weeks with all these crazy tornadoes and bad weather coming up, the Red Cross has got a program called Be Red Cross Ready, and I've got some information on that. But I always go through these lists when I'm preparing to camp, and it talks about being prepared, understanding your risks, getting a go bag. Do you have in your car a go bag that has the basic essentials? You know, we're talking shoes, water, clothes, a list of all of the prescriptions that you have, extra money, because when the internet goes down, you're going to be in a pickle. And I take dog food, and I hope this doesn't look bad, but if I'm in an emergency and I'm in a shelter, I'm going to want to have some extra beverages. So I have Oreo cookies and a couple of bottles of hooch.
Hey, it's the essentials.
So I will leave information on Sisters on the Fly and being Red Cross ready. And if you guys want me to come back and do a presentation, especially with the Red Cross being Red Cross ready for seniors, I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you, Deb. Thanks. Don't run off yet, though. Thank you. So, Kinta, how long have you been selling RVs and campers?
Well, I started in March of 2020 on the 17th. That was a Monday. On Wednesday, everything started to close down.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually a real estate agent. I still have my licensure. But I I thought, oh, that's fun, like little houses.
Yeah.
And they're all there, and so I've just loved it. It's so fun. Whenever we get a new one in, I always run out there to see the floor plan, and it's like they're all little rectangles. It's amazing what they can do.
So tell us a little bit about who you see buying campers and RVs right now.
I see a little bit of everybody. So I see lots of seniors who are excited about their upcoming retirement and making plans on deciding what type of RV would they like to travel in. I'm also getting families who have decided to full-time it with younger children. And, and then I have lots of couples that are just looking, for a couples coach, or families that want to go camping and looking for bunk beds.
Sure. I will say that if you've been a tent camper and you have the ability to be a camper, it's really hard to go back to that tent and sleeping on the ground, right? But there's just something about camping and getting to sleep in a full-size or a king-size pillow top bed.
I will say, if you are thinking about a camper, you really want to explain, and hopefully your salesperson will ask you lots of questions, because they are different campers for different applications. So for instance, if you're gonna live in a camper full-time, we gotta make sure that we put you in a camper that your water lines aren't gonna all freeze up. And there's just all kinds of different things that not all of them have an insulated and covered underbelly, which is fine unless you're traveling through freezing cold weather on your way to somewhere warm. So just a lot of stuff. Riverwind is a family-owned business in Andover, and I'm proud to say we have the highest Google rating in the state and possibly the country, and that's because of the level of customer service. We make sure that before you take your camper, we won't ever let you take it that day. We're going to do an inspection to make sure everything's good with it.
Awesome. So tell us, what's the biggest camper RV you have on the lot right now?
Oh my gosh. The biggest one, it's a Sanibel by Prime Time. Prime Time is under the Forest River umbrella, and it is a front bunk room camper, and it's incredible. It's got a huge front room with it has 4 bunk beds, a desk, a half bathroom, entertainment center living, and then a master suite with 2 double vanity and 2 fireplaces.
How many feet long would you say it is?
That one is 48 feet, and it's a 5th wheel.
Can you imagine pulling a 48-foot long house and the size of truck that you would probably need for that? And what's the smallest little RV or camper you have right now?
I have a little Taxa Tiger Moth.
Tiger Moth.
Yeah, so the Taxa brand came about, a former NASA architect who designed the habitats for the astronauts came up with this camper because he couldn't find one that he liked well enough to take his boys camping. So pretty much these campers will be here long after we're all gone.
I'm envisioning a capsule.
But basically it looks like a cap, it looks strange. But the door is open and this one out, everything has 6 purposes. So
Wow. How many feet long would you say that one is?
Oh, golly, maybe 8 at the most,
Wow.
tip to tip.
Yeah. How many of you have seen those little micro campers on the road or on the dealerships or on TV? I look at those and think, you might get me in, but you will never get me out. You need a shoehorn and some butter to get me out of there. So tell us a little bit about the camper that you brought for us today to look at.
So it is new. It looks like a vintage camper, but it is brand new, and it is a real camper. So if you like pink, I can get you a Barbie pink one. Good luck with that, girls. You're gonna have to really work it.
Just buy it and don't tell them. That's how I was raised.
But those are made by Gulfstream, and Gulfstream is also a family-owned manufacturer, and so we enjoy being able to work with them because it's not 10 levels of people to get to an answer. And they make all kinds of different floor plans and different types of RVs.
So how long is it?
26 feet.
Okay, so that's a little bit more manageable than 48.
Yeah, it's half ton total.
Okay.
So if
You
you
don't
have a
need a
half
big
ton, yeah, as long as you can tow 4,000 or 5,000 pounds, you could definitely tow this
Okay.
little tractor trailer.
Does it have a backup camera? Or does it connect to the backup camera in my truck?
It has a backup camera prep,
Okay,
so
good.
we could put one in.
Awesome, awesome. And so tell me, ladies, how did you and Deb meet? Oh, that's for you, Deb.
Well, a friend of mine, sister on the fly, had a camper, and I had a little airframe, or an A-frame camper, and wanted a full bathroom instead of what it had. And a friend of mine had this camper that I walked into, and I said, this is the camper I want, and it was during COVID. I saw the camper online, and it was at a place that Kenda used to work at, and I said, that's the one I want, and I made an appointment, walked through it. I'm not very good at poker. I basically, my face said, I want this. And she sold me my camper, and it's been a good friendship ever since. So it's just
Awesome. I gotta add to that. So Deb also has a real estate background, and prior to her taking delivery, she had a list of things for the inspection. She had a list of things that needed, she wanted.
Did you have
taken care of. She did. There's like 35 things, but you would not believe how cute her camper is.
I was supposed to bring it today, but there was no room in the parking lot. But Kenda, I'm going to give a pitch for her. She was one of the best sales reps to work with ever. And I'm retired from Learjet, and I used to, part of my job was I inspected airplanes. So I had a punch list that was from here to the moon. I had something like 40 some items. But Kenda's one of the best salespersons I've worked with, and she took good care of me, and we've remained friends ever since.
It all makes sense now once you said you're an inspector. Okay, well, ladies, we appreciate you being here.
Thank you for inviting us.
Of course,
I'm
and before
super
you
thrilled.
run off, does anybody have any questions for Deb regarding Sisters on the Fly or the Red Cross readiness, or for Kenda?
Okay, thanks. We did have a question. Just a second.
I may have the wrong name, but I'm at
Yes, ma'am. We'll bring you a mic. We did have a question back here, and that is, do you need a special driver's license to drive the extra big ones?
No, you do not. So if you were purchasing a Class A motorhome for business and purposes, then yes, you would need a special driver's license. But if it's just for personal enjoyment, believe it or not, you do not need a special license.
Okay. And some people are saying it might vary state by state. Have you heard?
Yeah, that's possible. And you know what? I had a golfer who lived in Derby, a professional golfer, and they decided to get a Class A motorhome because it was COVID, everybody was not flying.
Mm-hmm.
And they hired an outfit out of Kansas City who came and taught her how to drive that Class A. And so we could get lessons on that. And he spent a couple days with them, and then now she drives it around like it's nothing.
Well, we definitely should have that information to see if there's any hope. Nope, my husband's really worried. Maybe I could just take a lesson just in case of emergency or something.
There you go. I always say, hey, they can see me, so that's plenty good.
I was wondering if that tiger moth, is that something that a car will pull, just a regular car?
You know, it only weighs about 1,500 pounds. So as long as you had, a hitch receiver on your vehicle, I don't know if you would need a 7-way connector or if it's heavy enough to have brakes, trailer brakes, but you would at least need a 4-way connector to hook the lights up. But absolutely.
Does Riverwind help with any of those modifications?
Yeah, we will absolutely. We'll make sure you have, depending on the weight of the coach. So if you have anything over 3,000 pounds, we're going to let you know that to be safe, you really need a type of hitch that has a weight distribution mechanism to it, so that you are not going in all the way on your trip in the wind and it'll just make it a lot easier.
My dad calls that when the tail wags the dog. So any other questions?
Okay, oh, I got it.
Here in Andover, my wife's been there since '99, and she doesn't even know where it's at.
All right, so you know where the wholesale fireworks is?
Jumpy jump lane.
159th Street in Kellogg, East Kellogg. Oh, and guess what? If you go out, if you guys ever go out to Costco, we are having, Riverwind is having an exclusive RV show at Costco. Started yesterday and it runs through Sunday. And there's extra pricing for members. We have about 30 RVs there and it's a fun event.
I need to go anyway,
Yeah.
so I'll get
Yeah.
100 rolls of toilet paper and look at
Yeah.
And that sounds fun, and we're not trying to sell you anything, but just to know, we like to have a candid conversation about something every month. And Michelle, we'll also want to hear from World Travel Bucket List too when you're ready.
Okay, well, ladies, you're off the hot seats.
Okay.
Thank you so much, ladies.
And thank you for bringing that darling camper. Make sure you see it. I bet that was a lot of work to get it here. All right, you want to come up? So he's got a whole table here, and his business, go on up there. His business is called World Travel Bucket List, providing exceptional service for all your travel needs. So we'll have him introduce himself and tell you how he can help with travel.
Hello, my name is Mike Filson. I've been traveling internationally ever since I started my first career many decades ago, and this is my second career. I started out as a Peace Corps volunteer in Fiji, which was a really rough assignment, as you can imagine. And from there, I went into teaching and administering international programs around the world. I retired from my first career from K-State, where I was associate provost there, and started my travel company. The name is World Travel Bucket List, so you can probably guess that I focus more on international travel than domestic travel. I can do both, but I'm really more versed in international travel. And everything that you said up earlier about the benefits of travel are certainly true, and it goes in spades for international travel. You learn so much about the world, about yourself, the more you're exposed to different cultures, different foods, different people, different practices. I highly encourage you, if you've never traveled internationally, to get a little bit of a taste of it. You don't have to go too far. You can go down to the Caribbean if you want to do that. I specialize probably in river cruises more than anything else. A lot of people have been asking about that. I also do regular cruises. I do land tours. You can ask me any questions about any kind of travel, domestically or internationally. One thing that wasn't covered in the presentation, which I think all of you probably can guess anyway, anytime you travel internationally in particular, always get travel insurance. I've known people who haven't done it and they've regretted it. I pretty much require all of my clients to get travel insurance or sign off saying that I don't want it.
So for those of us that don't know, or maybe haven't traveled as much, what is travel insurance?
Travel insurance is basically to help with both air difficulties and also health, medical difficulties. I wouldn't worry too much these days about your air situation because sometimes the airlines will rebook you or give you credits for future flights. But medical situations, you just cannot predict in the future what's going to happen. A good friend of mine was recently, he's from Minnesota, he was in Hawaii on a business trip, and luckily he had purchased international insurance, travel insurance, and his eye got detached. And he couldn't even fly back immediately because of the possible pressure in the eye. And he had paid something like $600 for annual coverage for he and his wife. And he ended up saving over $3,000 for a trip that he was supposed to be taking that he couldn't take because of the medical situation. But you never know what's going to happen medically overseas. Most people know that Medicare will not cover you overseas. So you have to be very careful about that. But I would always encourage people to look into travel insurance and sort of figure that into your budget of about roughly 10% of the cost of your travel, you might want to consider adding travel insurance.
And that's great advice. So I have to ask, when you say river tours or river trips, do you mean domestic, foreign, both?
You can do both. You can travel on a river almost anywhere in the world now. In the US, there's currently only one company operating in the US. It's called American Cruise Lines, and they're one of the largest that ever was in the US. There was another one that recently folded, American Queen River Company. American Cruise Line has been along for a long time now. They go up and down the Mississippi, interior into the Columbia River, and on the northwest coast along the Columbia River, down Oregon and Washington. They go along the northeast part of the United States. They go down to the southern part of the United States. So they travel pretty much all around the United States. And internationally, European river cruises are probably the top for many people. You can travel down the Danube River, which is one of the first things I would recommend for someone who's never tried a river cruise. That was one of my 2 or 3 literally jaw-dropping moments is when I saw the Parliament building in Budapest all lit up at night. It's just stunning. Going down the Danube is one option. Going down the Rhine all the way from Amsterdam down to Switzerland is another excellent cruise. Going down the rivers in France, I've done the Seine and the Rhone. You can go down the rivers in Portugal. You can go down rivers in Africa, Asia, Latin America, Southeast Asia. And they're all wonderful opportunities. River cruises have the best food, the best experiences, the best drinks.
There's that hooch again, right?
Yes, and it does come in handy. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to stop by my booth or ask me right now anything if you have any questions about it.
I have a quick question. Let's say that I want to travel, but I don't get around as good as I used to, or I might have supplemental oxygen or some medical equipment. What kind of travel do you recommend that would be the most accommodating?
Yeah, there's some river cruises that will accommodate that, some of them won't. It sort of depends on the location. Almost all the river cruises now have elevators inside their cruise lines, even though they're only like 3 stories high. You have elevators from the bottom floor to the top floor. But you probably shouldn't go on a lot of the river cruises if you have really limited mobility. I have seen people going along on the scooters, and they did fine. But wheelchairs will not work in some places in Europe, I know, because they have cobbled streets and stones, and they don't have the ADA like we have here.
I learned something today, that Europe doesn't have ADA, that Medicare is not going to work for you outside of the States. So I have to also ask, do you mainly have your travel business to fund your travel? Does that fund your hobby?
You got me.
Yeah.
I went on it. I started my company because when I was working at the university, I was in international higher education, and I won a cruise. I won a cruise online. I used to have a full dark black beard, and there's something called Just for Men. The men maybe know a little bit about it. It keeps your hair black or dark. Well, I entered this cruise online, this contest online for 2 years. And I finally won. They said, "You won a cruise." I said, "Wow." And so I went on it and I loved it. I had a fantastic time. It wasn't a fancy cruise. It was a Norwegian in the Caribbean. But it was our first cruise and we loved it, and I started the company then.
Yeah, that's how they get you, right?
Yeah.
So,
And it's travel agents most travel agents don't really make much money, I can tell you that. Unless you work with big groups or groups. Let me give you an example. Like if people go on a Carnival cruise for 7 days, the cost, maybe the cruise is $1,500 or $2,000. The travel agent might get $100 out of that. So, and it's a lot of work working with some clients, put it that way. Some clients are wonderful, some clients are very particular. The comment that was made earlier about really like to do the planning. A lot of people don't like to spend hours and hours and hours planning, or hours on the phone with a travel agency or with a hotel or with an airline. That's one of the worst things about being a travel agent is trying to deal with all the vendors.
so what would you say is one of the best things about being a travel agent?
Being able to continue to travel. I've always loved international travel. I've lived and worked in Asia and the Pacific for 12 years. And I've lived in wonderful places, I've visited wonderful places, and every place I've gone, I've enjoyed it because you meet different people, you hear different things, and you learn about other people.
Great. So I'm just curious, raise your hand if you've ever been on a cruise or a riverboat trip. Wonderful. Look at that. That's great. A lot of travelers.
Just one other thing I'll add.
Sure.
They're now, most of the travel companies are now getting into the recognizing that a lot of people do travel solo. And so there are actually some river cruise lines that have solo cabins for the entire cruise, the entire ship. So you can travel with singles, you can travel with your friends in their own cabin, so you don't have to share cabins. And most ocean cruises now also have a limited number of solo cabins available. And the land tours likewise, some are set up specifically to focus on solo travelers. Some are focused primarily on elder travelers, some are focused primarily on younger travelers. So you can pretty much find out whatever you're looking for.
Wonderful. All right, do we have any questions? Yes.
Do you have a favorite river cruise or one that's the most popular?
So the question was, do you have a favorite river cruise or one that's the most popular?
I know one that's most popular is not my favorite. And it's the one that I'm really grateful for, Viking River Cruises. I think everyone has heard about Viking River Cruises. They have a tremendous marketing effort, and they're the ones who got people thinking about river cruises. Personally, my favorites are Ama Waterways and Avalon Waterways. They do rivers all over the world, and I like them primarily for actually maybe one main reason. The one thing I don't like about Viking is that you have one excursion that's provided in the cost of the tour. And that means everyone on board will get that one excursion complimentary. That means you have like 150 to 190 people. That's a lot of people to go on an excursion. Ama Waterways, Avalon Waterways, some of the other ones give you option. You have a choice of 2 or 3 or 4 different excursions you can go on at every single stop. And that's why I like them. They all have really good food, as I mentioned before. Most of them now have something called a chef's table, where you have like a 6 or 7 course meal with wines paired with each course. It's wonderful. And of the itineraries, I really like the Rhine a little bit more than the Danube. The Danube is more romantic in a sense, but the Rhine I think is a little bit more scenic because you have all the castles along the hill when you're going down the Rhine River. It's just outstanding.
That sounds wonderful. Like we all need to go over to your table and sign up. Do you have literature on those cruises at your table?
Yeah, and people can sign up if they have any specific questions or if they'd like to ask about specific organizations. I work with every travel company out there. There are travel companies that do everything. There's land tours in the United States. I work with the big expensive companies as well as the less expensive companies. Big expensive are like National Geographic tours, things like that are very expensive. But I'm not really big on encouraging people to take more expensive cruises because I don't do those myself.
Sure. So, okay. Well, are there any other questions? Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. Usually, most people are booking about 6 to 9 months in advance. Sometimes you can get a good deal waiting to the last minute, but not very often. And usually, you won't get anything that you want in terms of accommodations. So usually 6 to 9 months in advance. And part of the reason for that is that the airlines don't even release their schedules or their fares until 11 months before. So you have no idea what your airfare is going to cost. Like right now, it's May 2024. You're not going to know what the airfare is going to cost for May next year even yet. You're not going to find that out until next month. So.
Great. It's a great question. Do we have any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes, Sharon.
Hi, I was just wondering if there's cruises in the United States, the river cruises.
Yeah. The American Cruise Line is one that goes up and down the Mississippi and in and out of from both sides of the Mississippi. You can take cruises from Memphis to New Orleans to Memphis, New Orleans to Minnesota. You can travel all up and down. You can travel on the northwest coast. You can travel on the northeast coast up into New England, New York. You can travel down around the southeast coast, around Florida also. So there's river cruises. One thing I'll mention, which was very disappointing to me, is when they started the river cruises in the U.S. River cruises in general cost more than ocean cruises. I think most people understand that, and that's because of the scale. River cruises, you'll usually have 125, 150 people to all the way up to Viking's number, which is 190 people, which is one reason I like the smaller ships rather than Viking. But in terms of making the reservations and things like that, it's good to have those in advance. But the domestic river cruises are almost and sometimes more expensive than the international river cruises, which to me I was shocked at. I thought, well, they're in the U.S., they should be more reasonably priced. You don't have to travel overseas. But the price now, when they have sales on the European river cruises, sometimes the sale and the cost, including the airfare, can be less than taking a river cruise in the U.S.
That is surprising.
Yeah.
How about motion sickness?
Oh,
That's yes.
that's the one thing that's one thing I love about river cruises, because I sometimes get a little woozy on ocean cruises, so I put the patch on behind my ear and all that. But river cruises, you don't have to worry about it because there's no waves on river cruises. It's just fascinating going on a river cruise, going down the locks on the Danube or the Rhine, and you're literally close enough where you can touch the wall of the lock when your ship rises and lowers. It's just a fascinating experience.
Well, hopefully now everybody has the travel bug, and we'll go over to the table and get some more information. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. So I know we have at least one insurance expert in the room that loves to travel, and I've just lived vicariously through you, especially when you went to Iceland. Can you tell us a little bit what Iceland was like?
Yes, my name is Abigail, and my husband and I went to Iceland a little over 2 years ago in February, and it was an unbelievable experience, and we're like, man, if we liked it so much in February, this has to be incredible during the summer. So someday we'll be back in the summer, but we just got back from Hawaii. That's been a really common conversation and place to go, so I definitely recommend Hawaii, absolutely. Yeah, I'd say Iceland's probably the most unique place we've ever been, but we love Puerto Vallarta, we love Key West, Hawaii was phenomenal. There's just a lot of really amazing places to see.
And I'm glad you mentioned Key West. I love Florida, and Florida is so beautiful. There's so much to do there. And there's Walgreens, in every corner, just like here, so you feel very comfortable, I think, being in Florida. And we particularly like St. Pete Beach. We like everywhere from Clearwater Beach to St. Pete Beach. That whole Tampa Bay area is part of our favorite area. What's some of your favorite areas in the United States or beyond? Anybody else have something to share? There's a table up here with all kinds of Oklahoma stuff, so you can go take a trip and see something interesting in Oklahoma, and it's, 1 day, 2 days, and so there's really interesting things there.
Catherine, I want to come behind you.
Hey!
We recently went to the Gaylord Texan outside of Grand Prairie. Grapevine, thank you, Grapevine. And I've been to the one outside of Washington, D.C. These are fabulous, fabulous resorts. If you want to go, and it's pretty much all contained. It's like a city under one roof. And the one in Texas has recreated the Riverwalk from the San Antonio experience. And we went during Christmas, and it was decorated, and they had all kinds of families, generational families running around in their pajamas. They had a Grinch experience for everybody, and they gave you coats to wear inside because it was so cold. But the food, the drinks, it was just an amazing environment, and it made you think that you were just, outside all the time, but you were inside. And my husband and I, our gift to each other was valet parking.
Well, we just recently got back from Utah. So we flew to Las Vegas for the people watching. It was great. And then a hop, skip, and a jump over to Utah, where there's all different types of hiking, whether you want to go on a leisurely stroll or you would like to climb a crazy cliff face. We did Angel's Landing, which is, I guess I didn't do enough research on my way in, but it is the second most dangerous hike in the United States. And my soon-to-be father-in-law is 70 years old, and he made it all the way up to the top and all the way back down. We just took our time, and it was a blast. The whole place looks like a screensaver.
And she brought back a souvenir.
I did. I brought back a rock.
Congratulations, we were starting to wonder about that guy.
We like him, I'll keep him.
And it was one of the most romantic proposals. We weren't there, but the pictures and video, amazing. So they got, she got proposed to on a rock, and she was completely surprised, so it's really cool.
With having all of our kind of extracurricular things here today, so of course our extra tables regarding travel, and then with the camper out in the parking lot for you to go look at, and some snacks next to the camper in the parking lot, we're gonna dismiss a little bit early so you can enjoy the beautiful weather and all the fun stuff we've brought in. But we just have a few announcements to do, and then you can free to enjoy everything.
Okay, you guys, this is important. And you're the first to know, unless we saw it at Women's Fair or Senior Expo. But next month, we have a globally famous researcher and medical doctor, Dr. Heather Sandison. She has a book coming out June 11th. I think it'll be a New York Times bestseller. You can pre-order the book right now, or you can meet her in person because she's going to debut her book in this room. She grew up in Hawaii. She lives in San Diego, and she flew here at the beginning of the week to tape episodes with us on Empowering Seniors, and she's flying back again to meet you. And so will you please come back next month, June 13th. The tables are probably not going to be in here, okay, because we're going to have it set up with lots of chairs. This is a tremendous opportunity to bring your friends and family, tell them to cancel whatever appointments they have, postpone them, reschedule them, call in sick that day. Be here to hear how to have a shot at preventing or reversing Alzheimer's. So we're talking today about travel and how that can help with cognitive, all the planning, all of that. It all helps with protecting your brain, giving you something new to think about. And so she's got a lot of interesting things to discuss. She'll be here to sign books also. There'll be books available for purchase, or perhaps you might like to do a little research on her and be prepared with questions. So her book is called Reversing Alzheimer's, and it's really an honor to have her come to Wichita, Kansas, to be here in this room to talk about this book being released. So you're going to meet her before she ends up on the Today Show or Fox News or whatever happens with her book. And so we're real excited about that.
And it's not just theory. It's not just, wouldn't it be nice if we could reverse Alzheimer's, or someday we'll be able to reverse Alzheimer's? They are reversing it. She has 2 centers in the U.S., one in San Diego, and the other one right here in Wichita, Kansas. I was floored to learn that. I've done healthcare in this area for over 20 years. I did not know. It's called the Clear Mind Center, and it is a place where folks with dementia, Alzheimer's go to get better and go back home.
And they're coming in from all over the country to be here in Wichita.
Yeah, so they have people that are getting better and going back home. We went to lunch with her the other day, and Dr. Sandison told us about a lady that was preparing to go home from the center in San Diego. So it's not just a hypothetical, it's something that is happening here in our hometown.
Yeah, so it's pretty amazing. So be sure to be here, because I think that's probably people's greatest fear sometimes is losing your memories or having cognitive decline. My Aunt Carolyn and my mom are here, and my grandma Marie, she would say, I don't want to be a nincompoop. And what she meant was, I don't want to have dementia. What's the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's? We've been talking about this off and on. Who can define that here? Okay, so dementia is the umbrella, and there's lots of different types. Parkinson's can lead to dementia, frontal temporal, so we'll talk about all that, but 80% of dementias are Alzheimer's, and so that's why you hear that the most.
So please join us, bring a friend, bring 2 friends, bring all your friends.
So today we're talking about fun travel, the next month we're going to talk about keeping our brain healthy. Downsizers Club, we do that at our East office, our beautiful location at K96 and East 13th. It's a very intimate group. We show you a good time, and it's kind of a support group for decluttering and downsizing and talking about kind of having a plan B. If you're gonna get rid of everything so you can travel cross country in an RV, you probably should come to Downsizers Club. And if you're not, you probably should come to Downsizers Club, because I bet you got a lot of stuff to deal with. And so we do talk about Downsizers Club, do Downsizers Club every month. We also do Ambassadors Club. Do we have that on here?
I don't think that we do.
Okay, and so we do, Ambassadors Club is the first Thursday of every month at our office at K96 and East 13th. Now that's not our club, that's your club. And so we're looking to you to utilize our gorgeous building. We will help provide lunch, but that is something that somebody can take charge of, or a group of people can take charge of, and have a lunch once a month. And so call us if you're interested in that.
Well, now it is time to go visit everybody at their table and go out and see the camper and get a little road trip snack before you head out. Yes, sir.
My wife said if I forgot one more thing, she's going to put me in the home.
Okay. You can come see me and we'll pick one out.
But we will have been married 5 years on May 20th.
5 years? I can't do that as newlyweds. That's for us salty people that have been married a long time.
I bet she's just waiting for an excuse, buddy.
So enjoy the education partners, enjoy the garden, enjoy the camper.
Okay, they want to meet the Mr. and Mrs. Claus real quick too. Tell us about your organization. Would you tell us about your organization out of Derby?
Sorry. Well, we are probably the luckiest people in the world. Back when we were young ones, transportation was much different than it is now. So all these RVs and flying and cruises are just wonderful, because many years ago we didn't get to travel that way. So we enjoy those things. And I must tell you that I don't fly too often in his sleigh, because he flies it so fast. So I understand women and their men driving those RVs and trucks, because it's like a roller coaster that scares me to death. So I take my own sleigh most of the time, or he slows down. But
Okay, so since she's talking about the sleigh, I'd like to explain one thing about the reindeer. So some of you guys and gals out here, oh, way up here. Okay, some of you guys out here may not realize that you're thinking all of our reindeers are male reindeers. But actually, all of Santa's reindeers that fly that night, they are female reindeers, because they all still have antlers. The male reindeers lose their antlers in November, early December, so the females keep their antlers all the way up until February and March. So this is one of the things about the reindeers. So the reindeers only fly on Christmas Eve. So that's one of the things you ought to know about the reindeer. But we have a fantastic time. There's a group of us out of Derby. It's called Santa's with Real Ears. Men Mid-American Santas out of Derby, Kansas, with real bears. And we have Mrs. Claus.
And of course, Wichita has some of our reindeer. Actually, it's in Towanda, Kansas, out east. And so some of our reindeer are out there at that farm, and you can go out there during Christmas time and see their wonderful Christmas decorations with the lights, with the reindeer that you can see, and Santa and I are out there to a wonderful workshop to visit with you. There's a live nativity. It's wonderful. So it's called Dash Away Reindeer, and then there's also Fulton Valley Farms. It's a beautiful space out there. So come see us when we come visit out here. And like I said, some of our reindeer are out there. You may never know. Santa has to stop sometimes and trade reindeer when he's on his route.
You guys, this would be a fun thing to take your grandkids to, and so that was great. And then, if I were you, I'd come up here and I'd have our famous actor, Delano Evie, that walks around with a camera, take photos. Get your picture with Mr. and Mrs. Claus. That might be kind of a fun thing to have. So we'll post it in our Empowered Senior group. Thank you so much for coming out, Santa with a real beard.
We enjoyed it. Thank you. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Awesome. So feel free to get photos and tell everybody about the seminar that we're doing next month. We already made flyers for you, so you would have that as a reminder. So bring everybody you know. Your organizations are welcome. And you're here with Senior Services. Yeah, tell us about Senior Services.
Good morning, I'm Laurel Alkire with Senior Services of Wichita. We have 4 senior centers, and I see some people that have visited our Daletown or Midwood or Orchard or Northeast Center. We are also the Meals on Wheels provider. We feed 800 homebound seniors a day, Monday through Friday. And then a lot of people don't know we do 40 or so on the weekend. Those are the most vulnerable, that without eyes on them every day, they probably wouldn't stay at home. And then we have a senior employment program. Stacy's usually here, but she's on a field trip with her daughter, so I told her to take her place. So this is a wonderful. You've done so well since we first talked. But anyway, give her a hand. She really works hard for you guys. I can't believe in you. I can't believe how much I worked today. I've been doing this forever, so thank you. Good to see you.
Hopefully you were introduced to a few different people too that might be fun to bring in to some of your places. So we're so honored that you're here, and I should have had you speak sooner, but thank you for being here.